Aquaman here, and I'm gonna do a video a little different than normal. I'm actually gonna talk about the ClearWater Ferry accident because I was out that same night. I was out on the water, and I'm gonna give you guys an interesting perspective about it from my point of view, what I seen, and just give you guys a little facts, opinion, and kind of go from there, because I don't see many people talking about it, and I kind of want to give you guys an insider's opinion on it. So I got a little bit of notes I'm going to go after, but I'll give you guys my background a little bit. If you guys watch some of my videos, I'm a charter captain, a commercial guy. I do a lot of nighttime gigging, stuff like that. You can go ahead and watch some of my previous videos. Also do a lot of mullet fishing, so I'm sure you guys have watched that. But I was also a fireman for quite some time, almost a decade, and I'll give you guys that perspective from what was going on and all that stuff. So I'm going to talk about it. You guys are definitely going to watch this. I actually have footage that my dad took because he was at the boat ramp. He was supposed to go out on the charter with me, but his stomach wasn't feeling too good, so he decided to wait at the boat ramp. And he was actually at the boat ramp where they were bringing all the people in. They were landing helicopters and stuff. You guys are going to see all that video. It's really cool stuff. Before I start, I just want to say prayers to everybody involved, the families. It was a horrific event, and I couldn't imagine something happened to my family or something going on like that. So just prayers to that. I got a couple notes I'm going to talk about. So first, let me talk about the conditions that night. I headed out right around sunset. I had a bow fishing charter. I launched out of the Seminole boat ramp, and I headed north towards like Caladisa, that island area. I was kind of on that shoreline, and I was running my trip, and I was checking my phone, and I looked down, and I see on Facebook, you know, somebody I was friends with posted there was a boating accident in ClearWater Ferry, and I look up, and I see in the distance towards the boat ramp, I start seeing you know, police lights, and I start seeing more, and I start seeing more. And I don't have a marine radio on my flats boat. I have one on my offshore boat, so I didn't hear what was going on, but I could see something definitely was going on. So I was doing my charter. I kind of started reading, and I heard there was a boat accident. There was a fatality. I ended up calling my dad at the ramp, and he said, yeah, he goes, they're bringing in people, Coast Guards here, FWC. So I knew something was definitely going on. So I'm going to talk about the conditions that night. That night when I went out, it was not a lot of moonlight. It was a dark night. And that's important because I'm going to say this. Anybody that knows anything about navigating boats at night knows that when there's low moon, it's a lot harder to navigate. You have to sometimes have your spotlight on when you're running through the channels. If you get a full moon, you can almost run with just your navigation lights. You don't even have to worry about it. As long as you're paying attention and you're not going at a high rate of speed, you're not going to have an issue. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the tide was very low. We had a negative tide. If you remember, they thought that originally the ClearWater Ferry hit a sandbar. That's not what happened. That was the initial report. So what happened was it got pushed up on the sandbar, was my understanding. And then you had the first responders were just walking out, and they were pulling people out of the boat because it was so shallow. When I went out to Caladisa, the whole flat was completely dry. I couldn't even get up on it. I was literally on the edge of it. If you know that area where it says no motors allowed, those signs, from there on it was completely dry. So I'll let you guys know that. Another thing I want to talk about is basically driving a boat that night around Clearwater. Clearwater does not get that dark at night. It is in the city. You get a lot of ambient lighting. Even if there is no moon, say we have a new moon, it's completely dark, it's even cloudy too, you have city lights and it kind of reflects on the water and you can see where you're going. When I was running back that night, I had just my navigation lights and I was running the channel and I could see where I was going. I felt comfortable enough to run. Now I'm not going at a high rate of speed. I'm doing like 20, 25. I don't run at a high rate of speed at night. I just don't feel it's safe. I think you should max out about 20, 25 miles an hour. Maybe if you have, you know, a full moon and you really, really know what you're doing, yeah, maybe you can run 30, 35, but you just have to be aware that when you're doing that, that's a risk. My understanding was this individual was going faster than that. I don't know what speed he was going at. I looked at the video. It looked like he was going way faster than that. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about this individual that collided with this ferry, and I'll give you kind of my take on it. First things first, let's talk about is I don't think it was that dark out to be navigating the boat. I already told you guys that I was running the channel markers. I honestly can't see. If I was driving the boat and a 42-foot ferry came in front of me that was idling slowly, I 100% would have seen it. Even if it didn't have its navigation lights, I still would have seen it. 100%, no doubt in my mind. That's my opinion, okay? It wasn't that dark there at night. Clearwater does not get that dark. It is not like up by Homosassa, Crystal River, where there's no city lights. You're running a boat. There, during the new moon, you have to have a spotlight when you're running out of the channels. You have to know where stuff is at. It gets really dark. It's like being in the city versus being in the country. You know, you're out in the country at night, you can't see your hand in front of your face a lot of times. It's just like that up there. Out in Clearwater, that ain't the case. So I'll tell you that much. I'll give you that perspective. I don't think that boat was not visible. I don't think it wasn't marked. When I watched the video, it looked like it had the stern light on. It's a video, so you never know. I wasn't there, but I was out north of the accident, but I wasn't actually at the accident scene. But it looked like it was lighted. That's my opinion. I'm going to give you a second take on this. This individual had a prior of hitting a boat in the same boat that he was driving. He had one back in 2019. He collided with a pontoon boat. So the same style boat, but smaller. They said it was like a 20-foot pontoon boat. He was traveling 45 miles an hour-ish around that area. Don't quote me exactly. And they say the pontoon boat was only going 9 miles an hour. And what's crazy about this was during the day. This was during the day. This wasn't in the evening. This wasn't in the morning. This was at night. He collided with this boat. And how he collided, when I looked at some of the information on it, he was going like this, and the boat came across his bow like this. It wasn't like they were going like this. It wasn't like they were going at high rates. He was going 40-ish like this, and the pontoon, they say, was going about 9 miles an hour like this, and he collided with it, okay? So that's his prior. He has a prior incident. It was in the exact same boat. The exact same boat. Not a different boat, the exact same boat. He had a prior. And he actually seriously injured these individuals. 2 of them on that boat were trauma alerted to the hospital. I used to be a fireman. For you guys that don't know, a trauma alert is a significant event when it's called in. When a paramedic calls in a trauma alert to the hospital, it literally notifies the doctor that's on call, and the doctor is waiting at the bed when the paramedics bring them in for that individual, because that individual needs immediate attention. If not, they can die. So it's a significant event. There's a Florida statute that dictates what trauma alert criteria is. They have to meet a certain criteria because it notifies the doctor that the doctor has to be available and they have to be ready to give care at that instant. There was 2 individuals that were trauma alerted on that boat. So they had significant injuries for that to happen, okay? That was the prior. So he had a prior that happened during the day. Here's the crazy thing. He collided with that ferry, okay? He was on top of the ferry. He hit it in reverse. He hit it in reverse and came off the ferry. Who knows who was underneath that boat, what was underneath that boat, what it shifted. Who knows? And he says he stayed on the scene. He said he stayed on the scene. He didn't leave. Why would you go and hit that boat in reverse off of the ferry if you weren't trying to leave the scene, okay? If I'm driving my car, right, and I hit somebody in another car, I'm wrapped around that car, am I gonna go and hit it in reverse and come off of it? Come on, you don't know who's in that car, what damage is done, who's underneath that car, what's going on. This boat was on top of the other boat. Who knows if there was individuals underneath it, what happened. So I'll talk about that a little bit. And I also want to talk about what the Clearwater police said the next day. They had a press conference and they basically said that the individual fled the scene. They said he left the scene. That was the initial report that everybody got. So he's saying that he had a 911 call. He was on the phone with his boat was taking on water. He had an infant on the boat, all this stuff. I believe they didn't catch him. He was like 3-4 miles south. They got him at the boat ramp. I don't know the exact details. All I know is the guy that it happened, the guy that was driving the boat, had a house that was on the water, and it was in that direction that he was headed. So you guys, you know, take your opinion on that, whatever you guys think about that. So I think it's interesting because they have not charged this individual with nothing. There has been no charges filed yet. It's about a week later. So this individual, unless I'm not getting the information right, he has no charges. So that means he can go and get in a boat and he can drive around the weekend. He can be driving around in Clearwater, driving around Tampa, and he's out there. There's no repercussions. A guy that has a prior from 2019 of seriously injuring people. This baffles me. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. I can't believe that this is even going on. A guy with a prior like that, a significant prior, that haven't filed charges yet, and they're letting him just do whatever. Nothing has been. It's been a week later. They haven't done anything. To me, this is insane. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to play some of the footage. You guys can kind of watch it, form your opinion on it. I just want to give you guys some insider perspective. I'm going to leave you guys with this is, I believe, in my opinion, that I was out that night. I was driving. I cannot see how you couldn't see that ferry. If you were diligent, you were going at an appropriate rate of speed, you were aware of your surroundings. If I was driving that boat, which I was driving a boat that night, I wasn't driving his boat, I was driving another boat. I don't know how you couldn't see that ferry unless you were going too fast or you weren't paying attention or there was some external factor. There had to be something else going on. And the fact that this individual left the scene, he didn't stay there the whole time. He left at some point and they had to go get him. He was 3 miles south. Tells you that there's more to the story. There was more going on. There's a lot going on here, and I just want to give you guys my perspective and let you guys form your opinion about what happened. So anyways, this is Florida Aquaman. Go ahead and share this, spread it around. It's a really interesting boat accident that happened, and prayers to all the family involved and everything that happened. This is Florida Aquaman. I'm out till next time.